What's up fellow nerds, I'm your host Dr. McKay and welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a breakdown of Earth's first interstellar spaceship, the X-303 Prometheus, from the Stargate show SG-1. This ship made its debut in the 6th season's 11th episode of SG-1 and it was the start of the Towery space capabilities in the show. I'll be covering in this video the history of the X-303, the ship size and specifications, weapons and engines, and the many upgrades it received during its surface life. But before we dive into the video, if you like the content, feel free to hit that like button, don't forget to comment your thoughts, and don't forget to help support the channel by hitting that subscribe button. With all that said though, let's go! So firstly, let's start with the history of the X-303. The history of the X-303 is very fleshed out within the show itself, so I'll only be breaking down the main points of interest that I believe are important for the Prometheus, so that this video doesn't go on forever. So let's start at the beginning. In 2002, the X-303 Project Prometheus, was Earth's first attempt to effectively combat the Goa'uld Huttuk ships, as well as being Earth's first interstellar spaceship. The construction of the X-303 was undertaken in an underground dry dock hangar facility at Area 37 in the desert of Nevada in the USA. The first major event happened during the final stages of construction, where a rogue NID group and Simmons hijacked the X-303 and ultimately launched the ship to enter hyperspace. But due to an error, the ship dropped out of hyperspace in an unknown location in space. But thanks to the Asgard Thor, it was found. However, Thor at this time desperately needed the new ship and SG-1 to help them beat the replicators. So SG-1 and the President agreed to help the Asgard and then christened the ship the Prometheus after the project's name. After this mission, the Prometheus would then undertake the final construction steps and then be entered into service, taking the designation the BC-303 Prometheus. The Prometheus, now fully in service with a full crew, underwent its maiden voyage and shakedown cruise. However, due to the gravity effects of a star, the Nequadria core that powered the hyperdrive became unstable and had to be dumped to prevent the ship from being destroyed by it. This led to the Prometheus to be stranded on the planet Tigrea without a hyperdrive core, away from Earth. Later on, though, SG-1 captured an Alkesh bomber from the Goa'uld and proceeded to retrofit the Alkesh hyperdrive into the Prometheus. This allowed the Prometheus to hop home slowly over a few months. The next major event the Prometheus was involved in was the battle over Antarctica, where it defended SG-1's cargo ship from Anubis' attack and proceeded as a last-ditch attempt to ram Anubis' ship to try and take it out, but not before the Ancients' drone's weapons were activated, destroying the entire fleet, allowing the Prometheus to not sacrifice itself in the end. After this event, the Asgard gifted Asgard shields and hyperdrive technology to the Prometheus. This gift was then added to the Prometheus, in which it allowed the ship the extra range to reach Atlantis, which it attempted. However, it didn't go to plan due to Vala Maldoran, who stole the ship mid-journey. Damn, that's twice the ship got stolen. Somebody's obviously not doing their job properly. So the next major event was at the first Ori Supergate, where the Prometheus was a key part in the events leading to the destruction of the Ori beachhead. And finally, after nearly 4 years of service, the last major event the Prometheus was a part of was the battle over Tegelos, where the Prometheus engaged an Ori-designed weapons satellite and it was destroyed by it. The Prometheus was Earth's first attempt at building an interstellar spaceship and was a valuable asset to Stargate Command. It served well with distinction and laid the groundwork for Earth's future space capabilities. The X-303 design was going to be used as the main ship design for Earth, but due to the many upgrades it received from the Asgard after its construction, Earth moved away from the X-303 design to construct the BC-304 class, with all the upgrades received built in from the early design period, leaving the Prometheus the only BC-303 to be constructed by Earth. So now we know the main history of the BC-303 Prometheus, let's go over its size. Okay, let's start with my favorite specification, the size. The size of the Prometheus stated online is that its length is 195 meters long, with a width of 80 meters wide and a height of 65 meters. Here's an image of it next to the 225 meter BC-304 and the Nimitz aircraft carrier for comparison. But this is me here, and after doing the BC-304 size breakdown using the F-302s, let's do the same for the Prometheus to find its true size in relation to the F-302s. So like with the 304, we need to find an image of the F-302 leaving the Prometheus's hangars. This image of the F-302s leaving the hangar will do nicely. So with this image, we can safely assume the approximate place to position our F-302 within the hangar. And with this scale, we can now line up a row of F-302s along the ship to give us a rough size of 18 F-302s long. So we can do the math there. 18 F-302s times 26 meters wingspan of the 302 equals 468 meters long. That's over double the length of the 195 meter long length I found on the internet. Okay, that's a big difference. So let's continue this scale. Next, we do the width, which is around 9 F-302s long. So we do 9 times 26 meters equals 234 meters wide. And the rough height, which is 7 F-302s long or high, so we times that by 26 meters equals 182 meters high. Well, these sizes are drastically different than the sizes stated online. Here's some images of the sizes compared to the smaller sizes of the 304 and 303 next to the limits. Now, I'm not saying which size is the correct size, as the show clearly has a scaling problem, but for both ships to accommodate the F-302s, both the F-303 and 304 have to be around the size of the bigger scale here for them to fit. Now, if the 303 didn't have the F-302s, I can easily accept the 195 meters long size, as it's far more reasonable to accept this size as Earth's first ship. But I'm a nerd and I want to look at all aspects of the ships, and the F-302 size throws out the smaller scale for these ships. So leave your thoughts on this. Do you agree with the smaller scale size or my estimate realistic size using the F-302s for scale? For me, I lean to the larger size scale for the F-302s to make sense. So that's just my opinion. Right, now we have covered the complexities of its size, let's go over the ship specifications. Specifications. Okay, let's first go over the hull of the Prometheus. The hull is comprised of a naquita trinium alloy. Both of these materials are not found in Earth's solar system and are mined off-world. These alloys combined create a very durable outer hull, which is perfect for spaceships. Up next are the engines. The Prometheus has 4 engine units. The first one are atmospheric takeoff and landing thrusters for planetary landing and launches, and with some kind of anti-gravitational repulsor technology to hover in place in atmosphere. Number 2 are in-space maneuvering thrusters to move on all axes in space to move around. The third engine is the sublight drive. These 2 big-ass engines at the rear of the ship. These are the main propulsion engines the ship has, and they have a maximum speed of 110,000 miles per second, which is over half the speed of light, as the speed of light in miles a second is 186,000 miles a second, which is pretty damn fast. So fast, in fact, it would take about 3 seconds to travel from the Earth to the Moon, and around 6 minutes to travel from Earth to Mars at its closest approach, or to Jupiter in around 1 hour at this speed. If my math is right, of course, which is pretty damn fast, to be fair. And finally, the fourth and final engine unit is the hyperdrive engines. Now, Prometheus has had 3 types of hyperdrives in its service life. So let's start with the human-made Naquadria drive. This drive was the first hyperdrive made solely by Earth using the Naquadria element to power it. However, due to the instability in controlling the unstable power of Naquadria, the Naquadria core eventually overloaded and was destroyed on its first flight. The next hyperdrive was a retrofitted Alkesh bomber hyperdrive engine that allowed small duration hops through hyperspace, allowing the Prometheus to return home after it was stranded. The next and final hyperdrive would be the Asgard design drive. This was gifted to Earth for helping the Asgard against replicators. This drive would then be incorporated directly into the design of the later 304 ship design. So with the engines covered, let's talk weapons. The armaments of the Prometheus are 16 railguns situated on top of the ship for close-in combat against Death Gliders and Alkesh bombers, and with a sustained fire can do considerable damage to a Gould Hartak vessel. The Prometheus also has a complement of 12 missile batteries located here on top at the front of the ship that launch Naquadah enhanced nuclear warheads that are for engaging larger enemy ships and planetary targets. The Prometheus also holds one full squadron of 8 F-302 fighters for use in fighter screening and ship defense. Up next are the shields. The Prometheus's shields were at first reverse engineered gold shields that was obtained off-world by the Stargate program, as Earth did not possess any shield technology at the time. Later on though, after the battle over Antarctica, the Tauri was gifted Asgard designed shields at the same time the Asgard gifted the Tauri its new hyperdrive, and this became the standard shields of the Prometheus and again later incorporated directly into the 304's design. Up next, let's talk about the power supply. The power supply for the Prometheus is Naquadah generators. These generators provide power to all the ship systems, possibly the hyperdrive as well, as Earth moved away from the Naquadah power source after receiving the Asgard tech, as the Asgard hyperdrive is more efficient and possibly it can run off standard Naquadah generators. But this is just speculation on my part, as we do not see Naquadah being used after Season 6. For the other systems of the ship, let's start off with the sensor array. The sensors for the Prometheus were standard Earth sensors with small Gould add-ons, and then later some Asgard incorporated sensors too. Next are the targeting systems. The targeting systems is again the same, as being mostly standard Earth tech with slight upgrades added later on. And for the navigational system, this system is computer based using star positions for spatial location. Up next is the transport system. The Prometheus has two transport systems. The first to be installed is the Ring Transport Platform, reverse engineered from Gould technology. The next to be installed is Asgard beaming technology. However, this system required locator beacons to get a lock on its target to be able to use the beaming system, as the Prometheus never gained Asgard transport centers to be able to lock on without them. Other key features are inertial dampeners. This is to help negate the effects of inertia at high velocity in space and in planets' atmospheres. The ship also has landing gear for planetary landings and a complement of escape pods mentioned in the episode Grace, but we never see them on screen, so we do not know what they look like. So now that we've gone over most of the ship's specifications, let's cover the crew and the crew compartments of the ship. The Prometheus can hold a crew complement of around 115 plus for maximum efficiency, or it can be operated with a minimum of 1 to 4 crew with various limitations in operation. So with the crew number out the way, let's go over the crew compartments. So for the crew compartments, we have the bridge. This is for ship control, which is located here at the top of the ship. We also have an engineering room that controls the engines and the power supply of the ship, crew quarters for the crew to sleep in and rest, transport ring room for crew transport to other ships and planetary surfaces, many cargo bays for storing cargo and supplies for travel, briefing rooms to conduct mission briefings, many brigs to hold threats, including Vala, mess halls for eating and dining, you know, what you do on a spaceship, and medical rooms to manage all medical emergencies that happen on a mission, 2 hangar bays for the F-302s, and a single large cargo bay hold that also has a large drop door for planetary use. This is on the underneath of the ship, and I believe it's for large cargo and crew transfers. And I think that's about it for what we see in the show for the Prometheus's internals. So up next we have the commanding officers. So for the last part of this breakdown, who has commanded the Prometheus during its service life? So let's run it down, starting off with Colonel Jack O'Neill for one mission in 2002, but this was before the Prometheus was in full service. So for full service commanders, we start off with Colonel William Ronson, whose tour lasted from 2003 to 2004 and was the first proper commander of the Prometheus. Up next, we have Colonel Kirkland, who was in command in 2004, but during this time, on 2 occasions, he was superseded in command by General George Hammond, who commanded the Prometheus over the Battle of Antarctica and also commanded the Prometheus on its journey to Atlantis. And finally, from the end of 2004 to 2005, the commanding officer was Colonel Lionel Pendergast. who bravely sacrificed himself trying to save his crew when the Prometheus was destroyed by the Ori satellite. So there we have it then, guys and girls. This is my full breakdown of the BC 303 Prometheus from the Stargate SG-1 show. This ship was the turning point in the Tauri's space power and served its duty well in its service and laid the groundwork for the future ship development within the show. I hope you all enjoyed this breakdown, and if you did, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe to help support this channel out. I have been your host, Dr. McKay. Thank you all for watching this breakdown, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers and goodbye. Bye bye.